And just like side notes, do you have already some clients in North America, like United States or Canada? Do you have already experience of working with, different time zones?
Absolutely. In my team, I have a couple of consultants that are in the US.
Oh,
One is in Massachusetts, another one is in Denver, Colorado. And
excellent.
we've been working with customers in the US as well and in Europe. So I also have a partner in France and one in Hungary, and we've been working on with customers. I'm sorry, and one in Italy as well, and we've been working with customers in Europe as well, and also here in Israel.
Okay, nice to
So
know. I might
yeah,
have some contacts for you in Europe. Okay.
excellent. So can you see my slide now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have the right infrastructure for people to work remotely, and it starts with a dedicated space. So, unfortunately, not every employee has a good dedicated space at home, and we need to remember that. We need to be mindful of that. Some people, they have a small house, a small apartment, with children and roommates and things like that, and they just don't have the right space at home and they cannot work effectively. So again, as an employer, you want to make sure that these people have a solution. One of those solutions could be a kind of a shared environment that is close to their house, to their apartment where they live, like WeWork and things like that. Okay, so a place where you could actually get an office space, very professional, for a few $100s a month, and you are covered with that. Of course, you want to make sure that they have the right office equipment, they have good internet bandwidth, because again, a lot of the work is using video, and video is a big consumer of bandwidth, not just downstream. Also, you have to look at upstream and be mindful of that issue, because there are certain internet providers who don't provide enough upstream. You need to have, of course, a very good computer. Typically, you want to have more than one screen, because if you work with video, you want to have at least one screen dedicated for the video part and another screen dedicated for the other content. You want to have a high quality audio and video capabilities, and collaboration software that people can work collaboratively remotely, VPN for security. And what's important also is when you have people that are working remotely with people in the office, you want to make sure that the people remote have the same access to all the necessary information inside the office.
So what you're using, Slack? Like what collaboration software? What brands? Just
Well,
curious.
there are many collaboration tools. You can use Slack, you can use the Microsoft Teams suite. There are quite a few WebEx based, etc. Cisco
Okay.
WebEx, and again, there's a Google suite that you can use, which is probably the cheapest one of all, and it's very good as well. So multiple tools that you could use to allow for people to use whiteboarding online and share documents online and jointly review documents, etc., etc. Um, Again, a key element I mentioned for remote work is positive leadership, and you want a leadership that is based on trust and encouragement of your employees, and giving them positive encouragement, which also gonna make the pygmalion effect. Pygmalion effect, that actually will positively affect their performance.
I like this association, and actually it's very true. It's close to life. Yes.
Yeah, so again, a remote manager is no much different than a manager in the office, but a lot of time in the office they don't they get away without giving enough time for mentoring, for recognizing the employees, for setting expectations and setting goals and monitoring those. So these are important things that you want to work with on when you train your managers to be remote managers. The next part is establish a rule of engagement. Okay, this could be, it sounds like intuitive, but it may not be intuitive in many times.
Mm.
Um, you want to basically avoid wasting people time by spending too much time, let's say, on Zoom meetings on the one hand. Although, if you avoid those altogether, then you are basically falling into the trap of isolation and the trap of not being engaged with your other people. So a good thing to do is to find the right balance between video communications, audio communication, text communication. Okay, and
So,
uh, and to basically be intentional about it, so people know, what type of communication they should be using video, for what type of communication audio is okay, and for what type of communication text is the best way to communicate.
very valuable information. I even put notes for myself as the solopreneur that even for me, how to effectively uh, manage my time with efficiency. Yeah.
Right. And a big issue it has to do with the asynchronous and synchronous communication. What I mean by that, synchronous communication is real-time communication like we are having now, and when we talk on the phone. And asynchronous is more like email, okay,
Mhm.
and Slack. Slack is actually in between, because in Slack sometimes people treat it like chat and they respond immediately. But
I like.
asynchronous meaning that you don't have to respond immediately. Asynchronous mean that I send you an email and you can respond tomorrow, or you can respond later in the day. And there are some advantages to that as well. So let's talk about that, because this is a pretty important point. People tend to not think about it. First, less distraction. Okay, so if I'm a writer who now writes an article, or I'm a programmer who now writes a code, any distraction could basically take me off my project, and now it will take me another 10, 15 minutes to go back to where I was before I was distracted. So one have to be very mindful when they call somebody or make a video call, or by phone, that this person may be now busy with something and I'm now distracting this person. So that's important. Also, there is a more deeper type of discussion when it's asynchronous. So you can think a little more before you write something. But when you are on a phone call or on a video call, you have to respond instantly, and it may not be the smart way to do that. Um, and again, another advantage of asynchronous that it can actually work well when you have people across different time zones, or people that work in different lifestyles. So, as we said, one of the advantages of working from home is that I can pick up my son from school, during lunchtime, but then I do a lot more work during the evening. Okay.
Yeah.
But it means that I'm not always at the same time with other employees available. And so that's a big benefit of asynchronous communication.
Very clear to me.
And again, time saving. A lot of time we go to meetings, whether it's a Zoom meeting or in the office, and we sit there for an hour only for somebody to ask us something, for 10 minutes in this 1 hour discussion, or 5 minutes. So now with asynchronous communication, you are able to spend those 5 minutes effectively, and then the rest of the time you can do other things. So again, this is something that we need to be mindful of, and the more successful companies who work with remote work, they do most of their work asynchronously, and just a smaller percentage of their work actually spending in the synchronous communication.
I like it.
Okay, next. So again, just to give an example here of communication, okay? Um, Once you start to work remotely, you also need to become a little bit more effective on how you communicate with text. So instead of what you say here, hi, got a second? Yes, I have a question about this. Okay, and so far back and forth. You want to establish kind of protocol for communication of people that could be a lot more efficient, and basically use coding for those discussions. So as you can see here on the right, instead of hi, etc., you got a second, you basically quickly get to the point, and the other person can decide either to go to a meeting with you to discuss it or to answer you immediately.
I also see that one style it's more for the phone call and another it's for SMS, for texting. Yes?
Correct. Absolutely. Now, one of the issues that we always emphasize to people working remotely is the importance of using webcam. Um, when you are in the office, you get dressed, okay? You get dressed to the office, and you go there and you meet people face to face, and there is a lot of importance to that. But then when people work from home, a lot of time they don't like to put their camera on, because now they have to get dressed, and maybe a man has to shave, and the lady has to do her hair, and they have to stay attentive. They cannot do multitasking at the time. But it's important. It's important because face to face has a lot of impact on understanding the other person beyond just the words. Okay, it's not just to see the person how they look. That's not the really key element, but really to see their facial expressions, to see that they are attentive, that they are interested in what you're saying, etc. These are important. So it's a kind of a tax that you want to pay to actually become more effective and more engaging.
So actually, it's in Western society, it's very important to see eyes, to speak directly to the person. It's a professional code as well. And for customer service, it's very important to feel communication and trust vis-a-vis. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the concepts that companies do, and these are not all companies, typically more developers and small companies, that they work in teams that are spread around the world or spread around the country. They use what we call virtual open space. What is a virtual open space? In an open space, each person works on their own, but they can always see another person in the office, and if they need the help, or if they need to ask them something, or if they want just to chat with another person, they can do it easily. They don't have to set up meetings. They don't have to call the other person. So the idea is to create a similar environment when you work from at home. And the idea is to have kind of an additional screen, a perpetual virtual room. It could be on Zoom, it could be other technologies, but then you can see that the other person is there, or is it busy, etc. Again, the microphone is off, just the camera is on, and you can see that the person is there, is working. And if you want, you can ping that person to talk to that person. But other than that, it just give you a more feeling of team together working at the same time, and overcoming some of the challenges that I mentioned, the challenges of collaboration, the challenges of isolation, and also the challenges of kind of visibility for the manager. So the manager now can see that you are there, you're working, yeah, and then so it's a lot more engaging than when you work just by yourself.
Yeah, it's a real team work situation for me.
Yes. And again, it comes on the expense of your privacy. Yes, some people are, they don't like to have their camera on all the time because they feel this is, on the expense of their privacy. But keep in mind, what's the alternative? The alternative is when you go to the office and over there, all the time people can see you. So here you could turn it on or you can turn it off sometimes. It's absolutely okay when you are now eating your sandwich and you don't want people to look at you while you do that, to turn it off. Or if you now have to go somewhere and do something, you turn it off, etc. But when you are there working and available for discussion, you turn on the camera and then people can know, and they can see if you are now holding your hand like that, or when your lips are moving, they can see that you are now in a discussion and they cannot interrupt. But when they see that you are not busy, then they feel okay to interrupt and talk to you if needed.
So all this can be scheduled actually for, say, a couple of hours a day, this kind of interaction. And for other time when a person really might work on a code or some special project or assignment, he can work without camera, all should be agreed, can be, arranged. I like it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, we spoke about the challenge of team engagement and motivation. So one of the thing is, again, as a manager, you want to talk about common value. Trust is very important, and in order to get trust, people, uh, in order to get people to become trustworthy, you need to give them trust. You need to trust them, and then it works both ways. And yes, it's good to have also daily check-in, very short one. Say hi, hello, how are you doing? Looking at the person in the eyes, how are you doing today? What are you working on? Do you have any problems? That's it. And so having those daily check-ins are really, really important for multiple perspective. And now for the team spirit, having something like a weekly happy hour, okay? So things that we sometimes do in the office, you can do it also remotely, where people just go on a Zoom call and we don't talk about work. We tell jokes, we speak about the weekend, we speak about the next vacation, etc. And this is just again to relax, to enjoy your time with other people.
So from my side as an international lifestyle consultant, I really thought about this option, how to improve team spirit, team engagement, and what I would propose organization to have opportunity at least once a year to organize team building retreats slash workshop. It might be meetings, informal meetings at some convenient place, when there might be also co-working, co-living accommodation, and for all members of the team, project members, together with management, to spend a real lifetime together. It might be week, it might be common vacation for department, and I feel that this time together will really improve communication, relationship, and even work efficiency.
Absolutely. I'll get to a slide that actually talks about what you say exactly. Another thing is to prevent burnout. So you want to encourage your employee to avoid the overworking. Some employees, they, in order to prove that they work from home, they actually work very, very too much hours, too many hours. You want to encourage your employees to schedule breaks and physical movements during their workday. Um, uh, you want to schedule shorter meetings. So if traditionally you would have a 1 hour meeting, now you can do half an hour or 45 minutes. That's enough. And you want to plan on having 15 minutes in between those to actually move around, to wait, to take some time off. It's very important. And also encourage your employees to take vacations, even if they are at home, even if it's COVID. You can just take vacation and it's fine. And you want to encourage that, and you want to do it yourself as the manager, so they can feel okay doing it as well.
I know, actually, I've heard that some European companies promoting and already working on adjusting their benefit packages to include this time for employees, first of all, to work from home or to work even from different countries and accommodate the time of travel to kind of work schedule. So it became clear for companies that this burnout can be avoided, and people working, in less stress situation, having opportunity to relax while working or after working will really be better for company as well for employees.
Yes, absolutely. Now, inclusion of remote workers in hybrid situation, you know that, as I mentioned before, there's this disadvantage for people working remotely. So there are few rules that you want to do in order to overcome this. One is, if you have a meeting and you have some people in the office and some people remote, please ask everybody to go to their computer and take this meeting from their computer. Don't have a situation where the people in the office, they sit in one room and the person remotely is on the computer, or a few people, because then it will create a kind of disadvantage for the people who are remote, and you want to avoid it. Only in cases when you don't have an option and you have to sit in the room for different reason, then okay, but make sure that the person who is remote getting extra attention, okay? I call it affirmative action. Okay, so this person is in a disadvantage, and I'm going to give that person more attention, making sure that they get ability to talk, get ability to understand what is going on. If somebody says something in the office, in the meeting room, make sure that the person remotely actually hears that and can respond to that, etc.
Very important. Thank you for noticing.
And then you want to foster other social interaction, because one of the things in the when you work remotely, a lot of time you are in contact with the people that you work directly with, but you lose some of the interaction with the people that are outside that circle. Okay, so in the office you go to the cafeteria and you get to meet somebody from the finance department, but when you are at home you want to meet that person. So you want to create that type of opportunities also for remote workers. And some of the idea is virtual water cooler or virtual cafeteria, for example. This is like a room that people can come in, a virtual room that people can come in and see who's there and say hi and just chit chat and talk and meet different people. You can also have rooms that are based on certain social interest. So, for example, you build a room. Let's say every Wednesday at 9 o'clock we talk about sport. Every Thursday at 1 o'clock there is a room about music, etc. And so people who are interested in sport or in music, etc., can go to these rooms and talk with other people. Again, this is something that we found to be effective with companies.
I can tell you that from my personal experience, I'm participating already for several months on virtual Scotch Sunday, where we meet actually on a Sunday evening in the like to be pub or Irish pub situation, when everyone can drink whatever like he wish, but we have specific topics every Sunday to discuss. And by the way, participating people from different countries, from different time zone, just to be convenient, obviously, to conversation. And it's really helped to make us close to each other. We are professionals from different backgrounds, but what I can tell you, it works. It really works.
Yes, excellent. And again, now that to the point that you mentioned, you want to plan occasional in-person, face-to-face events where people can meet, can actually see each other, can, you know, get engagement to a level that they could not really get remotely. It's very important to have that whenever possible. If you are all located in the same area, maybe do it every week, once a week. If you are a little farther, maybe once a month or once a quarter. And maybe if it's global organization, make sure that at least once or twice a year, everybody gets to the same place and they meet and they talk, and we have actual team building activities and connection ideas.
And I can help from this side by advising on retreat places, which might be convenient and not expensive for company, but have a big effect for productivity and for well-being.
Absolutely important. I think we mentioned that before. It's very important for the manager to listen to their employees and you know, concerns, to empathize with their struggle, to offer help, and to actually do something about it. This is very important. And sometimes just a little note of recognition to appreciate a remote person whom, you know, typically, you know, it's hard to see and notice. This little note of appreciation is really, really important and can go a long way.
Excellent.
So setting boundaries, okay? So first you want to make sure that you have your workspace physically separated from the family, separated from other people in the room. And again, they make it clear, this is my workplace and nobody comes in there. So that's from a workspace perspective. And there's also the time perspective. So, you know, make sure that people in the house, they know what hours in the day you are at work, what hours in the day you are with them, and be very firm about it. Don't try to work while you are in lunch, and don't allow kids to come in while you're working. It has to be very clear. Now, mommy is at work, you know, just as if I was in the office, the same idea. Um, Keeping other updated. Again, one of the things that, as we mentioned, people that are far, you're not sure if they're there, if they work, etc. So use all kind of techniques to say hi when you come in the office in the morning, and you know, update the people if you are off for lunch or off for a doctor appointment and things like that, so they know exactly when you are available and not, and when you're working or not. I know it could be a little bit annoying to some people, but it's very important.
It's part of professional conduct at workplace.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, otherwise people lose the confidence that you are there, that you're actually active and working, and you can do a lot of great job, but people don't appreciate it. And so keeping this communication and updates is important. This one I will just skip. How to run effective, that I will speak. I will skip. Just basic things related to image with video. You want to make sure that you have your lighting on your face and not on your back. Certainly don't have sunlight on your back, that coming from the back. This is always not good. And certain elements related to your position, your layout, etc. These are things that you could find online, a lot of information on how to do that effectively.
No,
It's very
it's
important.
small details, but it's very important. It's very important to consider, and it really helps to effective communication.
Yes. Okay, so, you know, that's all I wanted to share on this short session with you, Emily. It was my pleasure. And I'd like to thank you for that. I will stop the sharing.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to you more. And I was enlightened on some aspects. Even I was following and reading, many different articles and was participating in different conversation from different kind of sides of the aisle. I found it very like thorough and like all picture, like different pieces of puzzle together in one picture. It's actually what organization need. Like analysis of situation and practical suggestion, advices, what should be done, how it can be improved. And I believe in future of remote work. It's actually not future, it's our reality now, and it will be growing starting forward. And I wish you the best, and I believe that consultation from your side, remote work institute, or webinars, or all type of services you can provide would be really valuable for many organizations. And I'm really happy and thank you for opportunity to have this meeting today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure to do that with you, and I look forward to working with you again.
All the best from Toronto, and my best wishes to Israel.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.